One night, I think I was a young teenager, in the young teenage years, I was watching Donahue. It's an American talk show like Oprah and Ellen. And they were talking about was it out-of-body experiences, after death, or whatever they call them. Anyway, whatever, they were saying all these things. But anyway, that's just to start you to the rest of the story. That night, I had a very, and it wasn't the first time, I think it was around the third time, but because I was a little older, I stood up to the God or the energies of the world, and I had a very bad dream about something that I felt no one else would understand. And I was so annoyed and so upset and hurt how I would be singled out and looked upon and frowned upon, and says, oh, you're a slag, or this, whatever, or you're a cruel person. And then I'm thinking, well, you're ignoring my issue, that's even worse. You're giving favoritism, to one person, someone, and you're ignoring the other person. That was what my battle was about. How people favor, like, oh yeah, you gotta feel sorry for this person. But hello, I'm here too. Do you know what my problems are? Why do I have to reach over here? I need some attention. I need this to, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going into the details because the details are not important. What's important is that I was really upset about something, and I was the underdog. And I said, you know what? From now on, I'm not going to be different or special or this or whatever. I'm just going to be exactly like everyone else. Just do things like a robot and not give her stuff. I'm not going to do anything out of good heart or anything. It's just going to be another drone like every other human around me. When I think I was 12 or 16. I think I was 16. I can't remember. 14 maybe. I forgot after a couple of years. Anyway, so I started to cry. I was a kid. I started to cry, and because I was really hurt, and I felt like I was abandoned. I was singled out from the rest of the human race, and I was crying, and I was hurting so much. And then I started to remind myself of, I don't know, I was just thinking, I'm just going to be like everyone else. I don't care, but I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, and I don't care about anyone else anymore. I'm not going to care. I'm going to live life without caring. So I started to think about, they just came into my mind, the things I saw on TV on Donahue, where a lady was saying, oh yeah, I was in the hospital bed, I floated out of my body above in the room, and she said she could see her husband was cursing God, and the doctor said, oh my God. They were scared because they couldn't heal me, and they were praying inside, and they weren't even religious, she said. And all she could feel was this lovely light from above, and she felt happy and joy and no pain. She was serene, and she could feel everyone's thoughts and hear them. It was just transparent. It was like it was see-through. And she says, wow, they were so scared and everything, and it didn't matter whether she died or not. So I was just reminding myself, and then she was saying, oh, things about God. God isn't bad, God isn't this, He's lovely, He's caring, He's this, He's that. So apparently this proves that life is just all about trials. It's not about your success or your status or where you are, where you're not. So it's about, you go through this experience, this dream, as we call dream. And when you're released from that, you feel the love and the heavenliness. That's what I'm getting at. But anyway, and those things were ringing in my head. So as a child, good things repeat, or bad things repeat. So I was repeating the good things. Oh, God cares for you. He doesn't want to hurt you. He doesn't want to do blah, 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 and all these kind of things. And I'm thinking, if that was true. But anyway, I could sense, all right, I have to paint a picture now. I have a square bedroom. a large double bed. On this side is my window, out into the garden. On this side, and this was the middle of the night, I don't know, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, probably 2, 1. On this side was the wall, and then my parents' room. In front was the bathroom and the rest of the house. So behind me was the end of the house. I was sleeping face down, facing the windows there. I'm facing the opposite direction, yeah? I don't know, it was like as if I was looking out the window. But how could I be looking out the window if I'm facing the opposite direction? It's really strange. And I could see out the window, kind of like a see-through, an imaginary green mist. Just imaginary, it wasn't even fully there, it was kind of like a thought. And then that thought started to get a little bit more real. It actually became mist, a see-through green mist. Kind of like my jumper. That's why I wore green, eh? I didn't know I was getting into this. And then I said to myself, there's a mist outside, while I was sobbing. And I said to myself, you're going to come inside, aren't you? The mist, I was talking to the mist. It was just a mist. Oh, what was that? I have a couple of biscuits here, and there was a crumb on the table, and I put it in there like it was garbage, and now I have to eat it. So, that mist started to get thicker and come through the bedroom window, which is, I have the whole wall was a window, yeah? And in front of me in the corner near the window I had like a wardrobe thing, and with mirrors, and the handle, where the handle was, a golden handle, red velvet stripe, and then a gold handle. It started to move in front of the corner of the wardrobe. Remember, I'm facing this way. Meanwhile, I'm describing to you what's happening. I didn't know until later that I wasn't actually looking at all these things I'm describing. So, that thing started to form, that cloud started to form into a smaller cloud, probably about this wide and that tall, like in like a three. It was like 3 clouds, yeah, 3 clouds, 3-headed cloud, and then it started an eye started to form in the middle, yeah. Eyeball and the eye shape, and then rays coming out of that. This is all see-through and green. At this point I felt no sadness, no guilt, no left outness, nothing. I was just there observing what was going on. I was being more real than real, because when we're in our human form, as soon as we're awake, when you wake up, you're heavenly, and then when you realize, oh, I'm awake now, and I'm a human, and I have things to do, then you just feel like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. Isn't that weird? Have you noticed that? Nothing hurts you until a few seconds after being awake. Then you feel everything. You feel the things are not even there. So, that image, which I was not looking at but I could see, started to come towards the bed, towards my feet, and then it, kind of air touched me around my feet, as if it was holding my feet. And I was getting goosebumps. It's like goose pimples, pins and needle typely, but a nice feeling, like it wasn't bad. Actually, it just felt like goosebumps. I was thinking, oh, okay. I know who you are. And there's, okay, you're going to move up now, aren't you? So it went up to my knees, stayed there for a few seconds. It went up to my waist, stayed there for a few seconds. And by this time, I'm starting to giggle and laugh and just be joyous. And, I knew what I was looking and experiencing. And then I went to my shoulders, and then down to my hands, the arms. Then I went up to my head, and I was in this tingling tingling feeling. And I was laughing and giggling like softly, like I was like a 5-year-old laughing, giggling. Wrong move. Just from joy, just out of joy, for no reason at all, because we are naturally joy. We're niceness and loveliness, you know. I know there's an opposite, but that opposite is there just to position us, you know. Where are you in this opposite? The bipolar type of polarizing thing. And I knew, all right, so I'm not a religious person, but I knew it was, as we call it where my parents are from, and we call it Grandpa God, and I was the grandchild, or the grandchild God. And I might have to push up ahead now. As I'm in this part of the room, in the corner, top corner of my room, the opposite side, the darkest spot, it was as if a bubble opened up like this, alright? And I was here, and I could look down on the earth from outer space, even though while I was in my bed, and probably with my eyes closed. And in the far corner of that opening is like life opened, you know? I could still see the room, but the room was like what we look now. What we look is blurry. There is a more clear than what we see. Our eyes don't see clearly. And a more awake state, and a more alive state. We're in animation, whereas the opening wasn't in animation. Well, it probably was to some extent, you know, because I was still anchored in a human body. I can't be fully spirit, otherwise I would have died. I would have unanchored myself from the body and earth, and I would have been a spirit with God and whatever. But God was gone in just behind the opening. There was no rays or anything. It was just an opening, a scene, a clearing. And it was as if I was looking at the earth from outer space, but in my bed. And I could see the humans going through all kinds of dramas and the traffic and at night and whatever. I think it was the Indian Ocean I was looking. I can't remember what I was looking at. Australia and India. Maybe it was America. I can't remember what I was looking at. That's not important. But the thing is, it wasn't like a speaking. It was just a knowing. And this is what the knowing was. Oh, don't worry about all that stuff. Oh, don't worry about it. And the Bible, don't worry about yourself about all the Bible stuff. That's for them. Leave that for them. Let all those earth people. You can, don't worry. It doesn't refer to you. Because the Bible says good things, but it says bad things as well. And as a child, you know, that scared me. And I was in joy, and I was being loved, and I think in the distance, even in the cloud was still there, by the way. Even in the distance of the cloud, inside, it was like there was other beings as well, you know, looking and observing the moment. And even in where God was standing, floating, whatever you want to call it, looking. And it's just a knowing. I didn't ask questions. I didn't need to, because we're already connected to it. But it's like we're in a blur here on Earth, in a blurry existence. And so don't worry yourself with all those laws and Bibles and whatever. And in any case, they don't apply to you. They're just details, but including things that we need to do as humans. You know, we need to work, go to school, have families, or I don't know, the earthly things that we do, whatever. That's nonsense. Don't worry about that. Don't worry yourself about those things. And you know, it's okay. It's like, don't worry, it's okay. You know, don't worry about that kind of stuff. And he was, just laugh at it. Not to take it seriously, he goes. And I knew it was without asking, like, you know. But then and I was just enjoying laughing and joyous, and I think, I better be quiet. My parents will hear me. because it's quiet at night time. And so should I get up and close my doors? No, I'll just be quiet. And I was just there laughing, giggling, and feeling joy. And then I said, I just kind of calmed myself down and said, I gotta stop laughing like this. Oh, they'll hear me and think, what's going on? Maybe I should have called them. It didn't occur to me to call my parents. Oh, come, probably would have disappeared. But anyway, I still thought, how am I going to tell people about this? I mean, there was no question in my mind. It was just that I was in existence and I had nothing to fear. I had nothing to fear. I had nothing to worry about, regardless of the details of everyday living. This is what I'm trying to tell you. So I said, how am I going to tell? Am I supposed to tell? Am I not allowed to tell? Because in those days, you're not allowed to tell. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to have to. I was courageous and brave. I said, no. You know how they say, like in the Bible it says, I think one of them said, poke the wound in my hand so you can feel that it's real, because Jesus called someone, ye of little faith, whatever. If there is a Jesus, he would not call anybody that ye of little faith. He would not say those type of words. The love and whatever I felt had nothing to do with that kind of stuff. And the things that are in the Bible, if I say, okay, that's who I experienced and felt, and then I look at the Bible, I'm thinking, something's gone wrong here. They would never say or even wish or think those things. Anyway, so I said, okay, I'll turn around, so at least, because remember, I wasn't looking at the stuff, even though I was looking at out of space, but I wasn't facing at the cloud. And I said, okay, I'll turn around and I'll look, at least I can tell people that I turned around and looked and saw it, so it's real. And so I said, okay, here we go. So yeah, because the saying was, if you turn around, that means that you don't believe. And I'm thinking, I don't have anything to fear, all that nonsense, like superstition. So I said, I'll turn around. I said, oh, there you are. Hello. Okay. And I just went back to bed, or back to the side that I was sleeping on. And to be honest, it didn't look any different to whether... It was like my eyes were facing this way and looking at it. It did not look any different. All I remember is the turning around, and it was still the same image. It was just there. Like whether I was looking here or I was there, it was still in this part of my room and in my vision. It's like we have an eye inside our head that can look in any direction, that we want. And that's true and that's honest. I never felt that experience ever again. I dreamt about it twice, but just for a couple of seconds, but it wasn't the same. I was in more worse situations after that, during life. That's how life is. Like really bad situation, desperate need of attention. And never had that experience again. And with the knowledge that I have now, I don't need it, do I? You don't need it. And that's it. When you're in that real awake state, as I said, this was more awake than awake when that the globe opened. This is what I'm trying to tell you. There is a more awake state than we are now. And you don't ask questions. I knew who it was. The other thing is we got to stop looking at God as a person, as a thing, or maybe even as male. We don't know, eh? Mine was the male type figure, but that can mean anything. The thing is, we're all kind of connected to each other. We treat God and we talk in God on God's behalf. We say, oh, God said this, God did blah blah blah. God judges this. You as people have no right to use God in your name, in your sentence, you can talk of Him. How am I trying to say this? You can't take God into your own mouth and God out at people. You got to do this, you got to do that. No. If that's what you believe, you do it, but you cannot tell someone else to do it. You can assist, help someone else. Oh, well, this is what I think or this is what I found out. Do you think it might help you? But you can't tell people, no, this is the way it has to be. No, you're wrong. You cannot tell anyone how something is supposed to be. We're all one family. We're not, you're the people and I'm the God. It was not like that. It was not a authoritarian, like you have to do what I say. It was not like that. It was not judgmental. It had no agendas. Anyway, after that, I just went to bed. Yes, I saw it without, but I could clearly see it without looking at it. It didn't make a difference whether I was facing it or not. That was the strange thing, because after I asked myself, how could I see all that? I wasn't even facing that direction. Then I turned around to look at it. That doesn't make sense. Well, there you go, guys. There you go. So when I'm talking to you about an awake state, try and get yourself into this state where you just separate yourself from everything that's happening and yourself, and then just crawl out slowly again out of your shell, like a clam, like a shell, a seashell, a living seashell with the snail thing inside, whatever those creatures are. And that's what I have to share with you guys. Good luck with it all. I hope this helps you in your journey, whatever it is, in whichever manner you want it to help you. Just remember, religions were made to serve people, not sacrifice the people for the religion. You've got it all wrong. People wanted something to follow, so they were given something to follow. It was a way, it wasn't the only way. We don't have the right to tell anyone what to do and how to do it. And we have to respect each other in every single sense of the word. Respect and honor and appreciate and mysteriize at it. Mysteriize. Because everything is mysterious and everything comes from the source. The electromagnetic, electricity, energy, love, spirit, you want to call it God. When there's a lot of things happening around and you just feel like hitting someone's head. What are you doing? Can't you see what's happening? I always felt like I was going to be the awaker. I'm the awaker, the awakener, to bring things to people's attention and actually, hello, stop, do something else. Look, what's going on? Can't you see? Wake people up and just let everybody be the joy that they are. You need to be the joy that you are, because that's you. If you don't want to, then don't want to. But don't affect, you do have not the right to affect other people with your badness. Thanks for listening, and I hope you share it for yourselves and for other people that might need it. As today, depression and anxiety and oppression are big issues. It happens at our workplace. It happens with the way society is structured, the TV, the things that we see and expect of each other, and the pressures we're putting on each other. We're overworking. People should have a couple of small jobs throughout the week, and maybe rest twice, in the middle of the week and at the end of the week. Can you imagine what kind of a better place it would be? People would love to go to work. They're always with people and have different jobs. We need to restructure the way our economy runs. It should not be to make one person rich. Okay, get a profit, but share the profit with other. Okay, you've got enough. Share half of your profit with your workers, their family. You do something in the community together. Use your employees to do something in the community together. Can you imagine what kind of a world that would be? No one would say no to work because you're working for each other. Clean up your dumps, your garbage disposal. Stop creating things. If you can't create something that can be safely recycled without polluting further or biodegradable, don't create it. Wait and create something more until you can, when you can think of something that's biodegradable and things like that. If it's too expensive, well then or maybe you shouldn't be doing, think of another way, or limit it to only emergency type things, like medicine, we need medicine, for a lot of things, the medical industry. but not for fun and games like for iPhones. They don't, what am I using? A Samsung phone, smartphone, whatever you want to call it, to record stuff. We need to make these things, and there is a way. There is a way to make them biodegradable and recyclable, even if they have a shorter span. We need to restructure the way we work and the way we hire people. We should not be too fussy of who we hire, depending on how. If it's got to do with life and death directly, like medical, then you can probably be more selective of who you hire. Things need to be more inclusive, not exclusive. There needs to be support for people within the organizations. Hire someone on their ability to want to learn new things, even if they don't have everything you want. How else are they gonna, you're gonna get anywhere? But it needs to be a more loving, respectful, honourable community, the workforce. The workforce is not a very good community. Yeah, so things with, Coles and Woolworths, and what is it? I don't know if it's dairy farms or something. I don't know. Some people like Bunnings are owning everything and killing all the small businesses. The small businesses are your customers. You can't corner everything, the whole market, and own everything. You need to, either work together, or hire them or something, or, bring them up with you. Don't walk over your fellow businesses. No business, no life. No life, no business, no life, no people. So what's so good about being a big company if you're walking over everyone and stealing the money from their dreams? Help create each other's dreams. You got to work together. Pray together. Organize days to pray for lovely, gentle weather, gentle summers, gentle winters, and only have the severe weather at certain times, because severe weather is important for cleaning and removing stuff and pushing and changing. But if we have it in a certain time frame and people are aware of it, get together, everyone, in their own religion, whatever it is, or belief. And if you got another religion, just go in someone's religion hall or in just a normal hall. You don't need to participate. But everyone needs to get together. For example, on this day, we're going to pray for peace, for starters, and understanding all over the world, and acceptance. Alright? So everyone can chant in their own hearts, peace, understanding, acceptance. And that's the prayer. You can do it in an Orthodox way, you can do it in a Jewish way, you can do it in a Buddhist way, whatever. You can do it just by affirmations. But everyone on this day to have the prayer, even if they're at home or even if they're at work. Everything, it should run on the TVs, so everything stops for about half an hour or an hour. For half an hour there'll be just silence, for half an hour there'll be just the prayer thing, and then for another 15 minutes there'll be silence, and then every life can begin again. Have that rest, and have this once a month, even once a week, every Sunday. If everyone can get together and just focus on success, on joy. Next week they can focus on health, not sickness or a disease, health. You don't want to focus on a disease, you want to focus on healthiness, being healthy. The next week you focus on people that are depressed, things like that. These are things that we all need to do, and every country needs to organise and so that they do it on the same day. So wishing you well, thank you, and spread goodness till our next video. Goodbye.